So hello and welcome. This is the first in the Welcome to Star Trek Online series. This series is aimed at players just coming into the game in 2025, or maybe you've just started recently, and is aimed at giving you some good hints and tips and some more information. Because unfortunately, Star Trek Online for the last 15 years hasn't been that great at explaining everything that you can do in the game. It gives you the basics, but there's a lot more to know. So in this video, we go over some of the good bits of information before you start, help you avoid some of the pitfalls that some players fall into, and then we'll move on to creating your character. So before you begin, the key thing is you do not need to spend money in the game to play it. Star Trek Online is a free-to-play game. There is a lot of premium content that does cost virtual currency. There you have the choice. You can either spend money to buy the currency through various stores, or you can get it for free, believe it or not, in the game through exchanging in-game resources for that premium currency. And that's something that we'll look at in future videos. Now, there is a lot of great resources available, and especially since the game's been ongoing for so long. In the description below, I'll have numerous links. There'll be a link there for the STO Wiki. That's a fantastic resource. It gives details on everything in the game, from missions to ships to weapons, equipment, stuff available in the stores, and it gives detailed information on each. So make sure you check that out and bookmark it as well. Even after 13 years, I still have it bookmarked and I still refer to it. Now, one of the major pitfalls I've seen is new players coming in. Now, they might have been playing for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a year, even slightly longer. And they start watching the YouTube videos, which is ironic because I'm on a YouTube video discussing it. And they see all these great players, they're doing all this wonderful content. And they've got all these great ships and they're doing significant damage, they're not dying, and think, right, I want to be like that. Great goal to have. But what they do is they go and spend thousands within a month buying every ship, mud bundle, lockbox keys by the thousands, gambling with the lockbox system in the game to try and get the premium lockbox ships or promotional ships and that. And they get all of that, and then they wonder why they're not doing the same as these players I've seen on YouTube. And it boils down to several things. First off, not enough experience in the game. They can copy a build, but they don't understand the build itself, for example, or the timing to activate things, or they haven't got, the endeavour system's not high enough. Now, all this might sound a bit weird to you if you've not seen it yet in the game, and it's something we will cover off in future videos. But they've spent all this money, they've got all of these ships, they're not sure what to do with most of it, and they start to get frustrated. They start to hit out at, say, the developers for making errors in the game, or they start parroting other people's comments from various other sources and try and pass it off as if they know more than what they do. And all they're trying to do is make it appear that they are as good as these top players. And that is unfortunate. The key takeaway from that is you don't try to copy the meta players on day one. If you want to get to that level, if that's the aim of the game for yourself, great. Baby steps. Learn the game, learn the basics. By all means, watch the content of these meta players. Get the tips off of them. Start looking at what you might want to acquire in the game and build up over time. That way, your piloting skills will become better. You'll be able to get more in-game resources the longer you've played. And as I alluded to at the very beginning there, trading these in-game resources for the virtual currency means you are effectively getting that premium content for free. And that's a very, very good thing in this game. It will take time, but it is doable. So patience in this game is key. It's a game that, unlike some where you batter through it in a week and say, oh, that's me done everything, move on to the next one. This game's been going for 15 years and it keeps adding new content to itself. It's not a game such as, say, a very popular online shooter that drops 2 or 3 titles a year, rather than having one title and continually adding new content, new mechanisms to itself. Because that game, having 2 or 3 copies of, 2 or 3 versions of the game a year, brings in a lot of money for that company. Star Trek Online's model is working. It has been for 15 years. I don't see it changing anytime soon. So it's one of these games where it will take you some time. There is a lot to do when you first start. But once you've done it on the characters you're going to be using in the game, the hard part's done to a certain extent. And then it's a case of whatever your goal is in the game becomes your main focus. It becomes easier. So, patience is key. Now, if you've got this far and I've not scared you off, hey, I'm doing well. So, we're going to take a look at creating your first character. And there's a lot of options, and there's a couple of tips as well on the best way to approach it and the benefits of doing so. So we'll jump into game and we'll have a look at creating your first character. So Star Trek Online has several different launcher options. So you can get the Arc one from the Star Trek Online website. You have Steam, and you also have Epic. Now I'm using Epic launcher for my free-to-play account, this one, and that's predominantly because Epic has additional giveaways on occasion that are not available if you play via Steam or through the Arc launcher. And unfortunately, you can't link the launchers together. So you couldn't have an Epic account and run it through the Arc launcher, for example. Used to be able to, but they did away with that, unfortunately. The other reason I use Epic for this account is that Epic tends to have some better sales for the virtual currency, if that's something you're wanting to look at. And it also has a reward system in it as well. So the more you spend, the more effectively cash back you get. So that's why I do Epic on my free-to-play account. My main account is an Arc account, but it is also linked with Epic because I was able to do so at the time. So I get the additional Epic giveaways, including the Arc giveaways as well. once you've picked your launcher, you're going to be creating your first character. So you have the choice of Federation, Klingon, Romulan Republic, Jem'Hadar. Now, those two, once you've completed the tutorial, you need to pick an alignment. So you either side with the Federation, or you side with the Klingon Empire. And that dictates what you have access to map-wise. So if you choose Federation, you get to go to our space dock, as well as, say, New Romulus. For Klingons, you get to go to Kronos, as well as New Romulus, or Deep Space Nine, and BSD, and Kronos, and so forth. And once you've picked your faction alignment, you cannot change it. Here we have the original series, Federation, and Discovery, Federation. Now, there are what's called recruits. These events run throughout the year. It normally starts off with a Klingon recruit, moves on to Delta or Temporal, sometimes you do swap them about. And then you also have the Gamma recruit as well. So what that means is, if for example when the Temporal event recruit starts, you would create a original series character. For the Gamma recruit, you create a Jem'Hadar one. For Delta, you create a Federation, Klingon and Romulan. And then for Klingon, you create a Klingon recruit. Now, these recruits give additional bonuses in the game for completing story missions, finding items, defeating so many enemies, and so forth. We'll have a deeper dive into the recruits as we go through the series. So it's always a good idea that having your main character as being one of the recruits, so whether you want to be a Romulan, a Klingon, a Starfleet, or original series character. The only one that doesn't have a recruit event at the moment is the Discovery one. So I'm going to create a new Federation character on this account. So my quick Starfleet. Then I want to be male. Now, there's numerous species and they are faction dependent, but a tip is to create an alien character, and that is because you get additional trait slots for your character, which means you can slot more abilities. Now, that might not make much sense at the moment if you're literally just starting the game, but when we move on to the videos that cover traits and specializations in more detail, it might become a bit clearer. At least I hope it will. So, selected my alien, got my gender, then I need to choose a career. So, tactical is normally the most popular. You get certain abilities for space, certain abilities for ground that are unique to whatever career you pick. So for space, generally, tactical and science are the top two performers for space combat. Engineering is superb for ground combat. So I will have the links to the STO Wiki pages in the description down below that details each career. Now, once you've selected your career at the moment, and we are hoping that this will change in the future, you cannot change it. So, if you select tactical, you're going to be tactical for the time you've got that character. But you can create multiple characters. So, if you wanted a Federation, tactical, science, and engineering, you can create one of each. Same for Klingon, same for Romulan, Jem'Hadar, and so forth. So I'm going to take a tactical officer. once the game catches up with me. So now I get to customise my characters. You do in most games where you choose your own character. So I'm not wanting to look alien. I want the abilities of the alien, but I do not want to look alien. So I might go head and advanced. And here's all your customization options. So first thing I'm going to do is change my skin colour. Then I want a solid fill on that. I do not want any forehead details. I don't want any nose details. I want humanoid eyes. And I'm blue-eyed, so I want blue eyes for my character. For my ears, it's like humanoid. Again, as you can see here, there's numerous choices. Give yourself the Vulcan look or Romulan look if you wish. Raymond look. As I say, there's a lot of options, and you can change your appearance at any point in the game, and we'll show you where to in future videos. So, I need to give myself some eyebrows, so we'll just go for medium. I wanted attachments, so look like Geordie or Wayoon, for example. So, those options. I do have some additional ones because they're unlocked on my account, but anything you see with the yellow Z, that means it's purchasable for Zen, which is the virtual currency. Again, I've avoided head attachments, got those options. Definitely want some hair. Not really going for the pike look. And give yourself the Bajoran earring there. And then if you want beards or tendrils, for example. I'll give them a moustache. Yeah, and you can choose the shading on it. Never wanted to mess about with the overall size of the head, location of the eyes, the nose and so forth. All those options are there to do so. And then same with the body. Change your neck length, torso. I just want to do it through the basic and just change your height. It's a bit too tall for me. Then you can mess about with how they'll stand when they're not doing anything. So I'll use twitchy, I'll just be standard. Oh dear, shrunk. Right, time to go back up. And at this stage you can also change your uniform as well. So there's some presets. So there's the standard 2409 uniform, the referred to as the Odyssey. Got some unique variants of uniforms here, including the First Contact one. Or if we go again into advanced, you can have a look through. So again, anything with the Zen icon is purchasable. If it's got a green tick on it, it means you own it already, and it's selectable. Same with com badges. The rank you can change as you level up, keep yourself right, and then you've got your lower half, so you've got your belts, your shoes, your trousers, or pants as the Americans call them. And once you're happy with that, you hit next. Give your captain a name, and then so that would be the name of your character in the character select screen, and then you can fill in, first, middle, last name. You can rename your ship here as well, and then you'd hit engage, and that would take you into the tutorial. Now, I'm not going to go through the tutorial for two reasons. One, it would probably quadruple the length of this video, and I've already had to split it up after initial recording turned into 2.5 hours. And also, I don't want to spoil a surprise for you if you haven't already done the tutorial. So it's nice to get it fresh and get that full experience. But this is how you go about selecting your character. So we'll end the video there, and what we'll do is we'll pick up in the next video of the series. We'll take a look at the HUD on ground and space, try to navigate the menu systems, and after that we'll start diving in a bit more into the nuances of the game, things that you don't normally find out about through playing. It's something that you generally end up reading about on Discords or Reddits or looking at YouTube videos. And so that'll conclude the first video in the series. So now you've got your character, let's see what we're going to be looking at next. So in this series I'm going to be looking at the Star Trek Online HUD, and we're looking at both the space and ground ones as they are different. We'll have a look at the in-game stores, what's available for what resources. We'll look at the premium content, the free-to-play content. We'll take a look at the ships. So there are several classes of ships in the game. Each have their own unique abilities or weapons or layouts, and we'll have a look at that. The equipment that you can slot on yourself and on your ship. We'll take a look at the reputation system, the duty officer, and the admiralty systems as well. We'll take a look at the task force operations and the patrols in the game, fleets, the resources and the resource exchange, and also events that happen in the game. And there'll be a lot more after that. I just didn't want to give you death by PowerPoint with 10 slides of everything that we'd probably look at. So, as I said at the very beginning there is going to be a lot of links in the description of this video. There's, I say, the main Star Trek Online news blogs in there, so keep up to date with stuff that's happening and coming in game. The STO wikis there, I've mentioned that already. I'll have links to other content creators. I say there's a lot of good videos that they've done, whether it be looking at stuff for new players, stuff for free-to-play players, the meta side of things as well, news and reviews, all that's covered in there. So yeah, make sure you have a look and start adding bookmarks. So until the next video, or my next live stream if you want to join that, I'll thank you for watching. I do hope you've found this short intro useful, and I look forward to creating the next in the series of videos, and see you all then.